This is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Mamudu Gajaga and thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. $50 million worth of drugs were seized by the Drug Law Enforcement Agency and 27 suspects are in custody. A 5-day training of trainers course on the management of obstetrics and neonatal complications began on Monday, organized by the Kanifing General Hospital and Baylor College of Medicines, the United States of America and partners. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, began a 2-day forum on Tuesday to validate the interim report of the submarine cable project to improve the internet connectivity. 57 trainees in agriculture, entrepreneurship and skills acquisition have graduated at the Gambia Songhai Initiative in Chamen in the North Bank region. And in international news, Equatorial Guinea on Monday confirmed an outbreak of the Marburg virus disease following the deaths of at least 9 people. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is QTV News. $50 million worth of drugs was seized by the Drug Law Enforcement Agency and 27 suspects are in custody. Ansumane Esonyasi attended a press briefing by the Drug Law Enforcement Agency in Kotu and filed this report.
The 27 suspects were arrested in the West Coast region. Like cannabis, ecstasy is a popular drug amongst drug users in the Gambia. The arrest of one suspected peddler led narcotic officers to what the Drug Law Enforcement Agency described as a landmark breakthrough. Usman Sediba, PRO of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, explains how the suspects were apprehended with ecstasy.
Operatives of the agency apprehended a Nigerian national on the 6th of February 2023, around 09 hours onwards in the morning. He was apprehended with 11,340 pills of ecstasy, which is a controlled drug, and taken into custody. Further investigation into the matter led to the arrest of 2 more Nigerians and 3 other Gambians. Preliminary findings from the investigators revealed that the drugs were trafficked into the country through postal services, that is through the post office. And also, it is indicated that the drugs originated from Holland.
Each of these pills sells at $500, and what is worrying is the impact on users, especially the health implications. PRO Sediba further explains.
Ecstasy is a highly potent, highly addictive drug. It causes confusion, short-term confusion, permanent confusion, can lead to depression.
In a similar development, operatives in the West Coast region seized over 1 ton of cannabis and arrested 21 suspected drug dealers, including 3 females, allegedly involved in cultivating cannabis at a farm in a village near the border with Senegal.
All of them are Gambian nationals. The total quantities of drug that was seized from them equates to 1 ton, 329 kilograms, 80 grams of cannabis sativa. Various quantities were seized. We have about more than 500 bundles, more than 88 bags, more than 200 plants, 3 motorbikes, and even cannabis resin, that is hashish, was seized from them.
Meanwhile, NDLEA Commissioner for West Coast Region, Maulud Fall, warns young people against trafficking in illicit drugs and calls for concerted efforts to eradicate the menace of drug trafficking and its related issues. Commissioner Fall also implores the public to support the agency by reporting any suspected drug peddlers or related activities. Ansumane Esonyasi for QTV News.
A 5-day intensive training of trainers course on the management of obstetric and neonatal complications began on Monday, organized by the Kanifing General Hospital in collaboration with Baylor College of Medicines in Texas, the United States, and partners. Lena E. Gwenyipa has more.
The Safe Delivery Project is also jointly implemented by the Ministry of Health and Horizon Trust Gambia Limited to improve maternal, newborn and child health through the provision of modern equipment and supplies. Basiru Drame, the CEO of Kanifing General Hospital, thanked partners for selecting this hospital for the project. adding that the training will add value by significantly reducing maternal mortality.
Choosing Kanifing General Hospital to host this program, I think is not by default but by design. Looking at what has happened in Kanifing. Kanifing is the busiest and biggest hospital in the whole of KM. Having been selected to host this program, I think is a step in the right direction. So also, if we train our people at Kanifing General Hospital on this on neonatal care, actually going to do a lot in terms of reducing the neonatal mortality in our country. And so then, it means that the country also going to achieve its own goal in terms of meeting the targets in reducing the maternal mortality.
According to the mixed 2018 survey, under 5 mortality in the Gambia is at 57 per 1,000 live births. Infant mortality is at 41 per 1,000 live births, and neonatal mortality is at 31 per 1,000 live births. However, there has been a steady decline in mortality rates, but a slight increase in the neonatal mortality in the last 5 years, from 28 to 31 per 1,000 live births. Dr. Rahel Salasi, a representative from Baylor College of Medicine, expressed gratitude for being able to train the trainers, which will aid capacity development and reduce the mortality rate.
It's very, 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 very satisfying and appreciated by us that you think that we are important enough to come and teach and help educate, share our skills and knowledge and experiences with you. We're going to share our mistakes with you, our lessons learned. And I say those things about mistakes because anesthesia, believe it or not, is one of the most humbling professions, I think, out there.
Dr. Mustafa Bite, Director of Health Services at the Ministry of Health, encouraged health workers to double up efforts in safeguarding the lives of babies and mothers.
The rate that we are going with to reduce this mortality is really slow, and we have to do better. And that is why we welcome this initiative. This initiative is going to teach us. Like Mr. Sen said, you teach a man how to fish and you fed him for life. Wherever we are, our small offices, our small clinics, wherever we are, let's aim for the best quality. Let's aim for the highest level of standard.
The hospital CEO further encourages participants to take the training with utmost seriousness to achieve the desired goal.
So we want to appeal to you to take the training seriously so you can go and also pass the information to other people. Because you are going to be trained as trainers. So if you don't take this training seriously, at the end of the day, there is no way you can train other people.
The 5-day intensive training by experts is expected to build staff capacity to deal with obstetric and neonatal complications to significantly reducing maternal mortality. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Igwenyiba.
The Economic Community of West African States began a 2-day forum on Tuesday to validate the feasibility study of the interim report of the America Cabral submarine cable project to enhance internet connectivity and speed in West Africa. Julden Jai tells us more.
Internet access and connectivity are key drivers of economic transformation in developing countries, including those in West Africa. The project aims to provide Cape Verde, the Gambia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia and Sierra Leone with a subsea fiber optic cable which will increase international broadband capacity and guarantee redundancy in the concerned countries. According to the World Bank, a quarter of the population in sub-Saharan Africa still lacks mobile broadband coverage, compared with only 7% globally. Even where coverage exists, the uptake of mobile internet services is still low, mainly due to cost. Keba Fai, head of Infrastructure Project Preparation Division at ECOWAS, spoke of the importance of the project.
One of the issues that our benchmarkers was to look at the issue of affordability. Internet is relatively expensive in these countries because of the loss of supply and demand. There's only one cable, okay? But once we introduce another cable and we have this issue of competition, the market forces will dictate what is going to happen. So we envisage that once we have this deployed submarine cable, it will enhance affordability and hopefully drive the prices down while also increasing the level of services for the internet users.
According to Mr. Fai, the study is expected to be concluded soon.
We are at an important stage of the project in terms of preparing the project. We've recruited a consultant to undertake a detailed study and give us the best possible option upon which to deliver this project. We know that it is in the IT sector and there's a very big potential to involve the private sector. That is why we have decided to engage with the private sector at a very early stage. Even this meeting, in fact, we have representatives from the private sector and also our development partners. So we expect to conclude the study by the end of the year and hopefully undertake the necessary structuring and financing structuring and hopefully start the implementation by 2024.
Mr. Fai calls on other countries who wish to enhance their digital services to join the project. Lamin Kamara, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Communication and Digital Economy, highlighted some of the activities the ministry is engaged in to address internet connectivity problems.
I think if we take advantage of the fiber infrastructure we have in the country, that could be another way of getting cheaper internet and also fast connectivity. But I can see that there's limited connectivity to fiber in the country. And also maybe if we get more 4G and 5G in the country, that can also really improve the speed and would maybe help also reduce the cost. But I do know at the level of the ministry now we are making engagements, especially the minister is directly making engagements with the operators to see how the internet price cost comes now.
In line with the ECOWAS Treaty, which calls on member states to modernize and upgrade their telecom systems, the ECOWAS Commission has been implementing a broadband infrastructure development project which aims at promoting the development of a reliable and modern regional telecoms broadband infrastructure, alternate broadband infrastructures and submarine cables. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
We will now go for a commercial break, and when we return, we have more local and international news stories. Do stay tuned.
Amna lu manqué de. Lu manqué? Armanti mayonnaise. So amul duma lek. Ma ngi ñëw man ma jégi armanti. Ah. Gisee safna neex na ndax moom ci armanti mayonnaise ak sauce boo ko ciy def rek dafay neex armanti mayonnaise ren la am 28 years te caf ka mosul ci tegoon tànkam fala ko teg ba tey man maak armanti dama ko miin yàlla dafa dogal armanti dafa doon sama xarit
yéen jéegi réew mi nee naa leen ñaar fukki at ak juróom-ñett du fukki at ak juróom-ñett déedéet du ay fodde maa la ñu wax lii dugg leen ci bépp marché bépp supermarket bépp boutique ci biir réew mi am na 500 millilitres 1000 millilitres ak 5 kilos li ci gën a tee dàq mooy def leen indil 25 grammes mooy caatu mayonnaise bi am na margarine bota am na bota ice am corned beef bu yàpp ak bu ginaar am na sardine ak banana milk armanti daal dafa complété lépp ngir noppal jéeg yi seen biir waay.
Armanti product, the good quality food.
Being the Gambia's trusted network, QCell continues to provide the fastest and most reliable internet service in the Gambia. With 4G plus internet speed, you are guaranteed fast and reliable internet anytime, anywhere with QCell. Get a QCell SIM card now at any of our customer care centers and enjoy the fastest 4G internet in the Gambia. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyubus. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back, and thank you very much for joining us. This is QTV News. 57 trainees have graduated at the Gambia Songhai Initiative in Chamen in the North Bank region after completing vocational training in agriculture, entrepreneurship and skills acquisition. Don Williams has more.
The Gambia Songhai Initiative is a project under the Ministry of Youth and Sports designed to empower youths and develop the growing need of transforming the agricultural sector into a productive, efficient, sustainable and remunerative enterprise. The colorful ceremony was attended by relatives and dignitaries. Lamin Sedikan, the governor of the North Bank region, applauded those who contributed to the success of the event.
I salute you all, the students, for this great achievement. In extension, I also thank their respected hard-working teachers, together with the Chief Executive Officer, for their good guidance and commitment to see the success of these students. These boys and girls must be proud of their achievement today. But it must go with discipline. Without discipline, all your achievements will tantamount to nothing.
Isata, the UNDP country representative.
When a few years ago this initiative was launched by the government of the Gambia, UNDP together with sister agencies such as FAO, we didn't hesitate in supporting it. After phasing out from the initial phase of support, we are very proud to see how the ownership that the government expressed since the inception of the initiative has grown and being a reality. And I see many, many female members in the graduate cohort. And I would like, before I finish my statement, to reiterate our commitment as UN to continue to support the government development efforts for the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goal, but also the investment in youth.
Bakari Waibaji, Minister of Youth and Sports, expresses delight for presiding over the graduation ceremony. Minister Baji stresses the importance of agriculture and the need to train the youths.
Songhai development model is to create rural cities to stem rural migration through an integrated agricultural link to industrialization and service provision, thereby making farming a viable proposition for the youth, creating jobs and sustainable livelihood.
Fatuke Sanyang wants to specialize in poultry production.
Okay, my plan is to become a future poultry farmer of my own, in which I'll be involved in broader production.
Since 2015, the Gambia Songhai Initiative in Chamen in the North Bank region has trained and graduated 426 students in various scales. Don Williams reporting for QTV News from Chamen, North Bank region.
From that report by Don Williams, now to international news. Equatorial Guinea on Monday confirmed an outbreak of the Marburg virus disease following the deaths of at least 9 people in the country. Lena Igwenyiba reports.
The authorities in Equatorial say this is the country's first outbreak of the Marburg virus, a highly infectious disease in the same family of viruses that cause Ebola. Equatorial Guinea quarantined more than 200 people last week in Interim province. Neighboring Cameroon also restricted movement along its border over concerns about the spread of the virus. In addition to the 9 deaths, the country has reported 16 suspected cases of Marburg. As investigations continue, advanced teams have been deployed in the affected districts to trace contact, isolate and provide medical care to people showing symptoms of the disease. Marburg virus is a highly infectious and deadly disease with a fatality ratio of up to 88%. Illness caused by the virus begins with high fever, fatigue as well as blood-stained vomit and diarrhea. Many patients develop severe hemorrhagic symptoms within 7 days. The virus is transmitted to people from fruit bats and spread among humans through direct contact with the bodily fluids of infected people, surfaces and materials. According to the WHO, there are no vaccines or interviral treatments approved to the treatment. However, supportive care, rehydration with oral or intravenous fluids and treatment of specific symptoms improve survival. Local health authorities initially reported an unknown illness causing on February 7th and sent samples to a laboratory in Senegal that was able to confirm one as positive for Marburg virus disease, the WHO said. This comes at a time when the country is in the news for other matters as the president's son, who is also the country's vice president, Teodoro Obiang Mang, has had his super yacht and home seized in South Africa after losing a lawsuit for unlawful arrest and torture against him. Teodoro Obiang Mang is among 5 individuals accused of being involved in serious corruption. In 2014, U.S. authorities seized a $30 million mansion in Malibu and other assets, included a Ferrari car, saying they had been bought with the proceeds of corruption. 2 years later, Swiss prosecutors seized 11 luxury cars belonging to him. The cars, among them a Bugatti, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Bentleys and Rolls-Royces, were sold at an auction for about $27 million. In addition, the UK has frozen his assets and banned him from entering the UK. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena Igwenyiba.
Also in international news, a Naira shortage in Nigeria is one of the country's biggest problems weeks before the election, forcing many to pass the nights outside banks just to be among the first in line to withdraw money once the ATM machine is loaded in the morning. Loli M. Camera has more.
In one case, even before the branch had opened to start operations for the day, people had already queued outside desperately waiting to withdraw cash from the machine, which was being limited to 10,000 Naira per person. A lack of a newly designed Naira notes is said to have caused the problem, leading to the cash shortage in a country where 40% of the population don't have bank accounts. Many banks have reportedly shut down operations as Nigerian citizens violently protest their inability to access their funds. Nigerians have long been used to fuel shortages, causing long lines of cars at petrol stations. But this time, it is something else, where people are seen outside banks in long queues waiting in frustration, confused and angry. Recent weeks have seen rising frustration for millions of Nigerians over the Central Bank of Nigeria's move to launch new banknotes. Experts and business groups say Nigeria's push to replace its paper money with newly designed currency notes has left many people unable to buy what they need and forcing businesses to close. Nigeria's Supreme Court on Wednesday issued a landmark ruling which should bring much needed economic stability to Africa's largest economy. The ruling temporarily delayed the full implementation of the newly printed Naira. Friday had been the deadline for the old notes to be exchanged. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, said it redesigned the higher denomination notes 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira to replace the dirty cash in circulation, to tackle inflation, cope counterfeiting and promote a cashless society. Some say the move is a political ploy to destabilize the country ahead of this month's general elections. But the Independent National Electoral Commission of Nigeria Wednesday reassures Nigerians that the February 25th ballot will happen with 3 major presidential candidates in a tied race. On October 26, 2022, the Central Bank of Nigeria announced that higher denominations of the 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes would be redesigned and introduced into the economy from 15 December 2022, while commercial banks were directed to return existing denominations to the central bank. For QTV News, Loli M. Kamara.
Now, before we end this news bulletin, here is a recap of our main news headlines. $50 million worth of drugs was seized by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency and 27 suspects are in custody. A 5-day training of trainers course on the management of obstetric and neonatal complications began on Monday, organized by the Kanifing General Hospital and Baylor College of Medicine, the United States and partners. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, began a 2-day forum on Tuesday to validate the interim report of a submarine cable project to improve internet connectivity. 57 trainees in agriculture, entrepreneurship and skills acquisition have graduated at the Gambia Songhai Initiative in Chamen in the North Bank region. In international news, Equatorial Guinea on Monday confirmed an outbreak of the Marburg virus disease following the deaths of at least 9 people. That's all in this edition of QTV News, but just before we go, we have something special for you coming up next. That is Valentine's Special. You can join Asmao, Balde, and everybody else who is going to be part of that show to make your night a special one, a special Valentine's night. And on that note, we say thank you very much for watching this newscast. Join us tomorrow for more news and have a pleasant night. Bye.